Hey everybody, welcome back to Divulgence. Today I'm very, very excited to welcome author of Coup d'etat in slow motion, podcaster, public speaker, peacemaker, spiritual teacher, and he is also the winner of the 2016 Prague Peace Prize Award, Ole Dammegard. Ole, thanks for being here. How are you, my friend? It's nice to see you, and it's nice to meet you.
I'm doing good, and I really enjoy being here with you, Jordan. So thank you so much for inviting me.
Well, thank you. For people who maybe haven't heard of you, obviously you're a very, very well-known person, but for those who might be newer to you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and some of the stuff you've been working on lately, maybe as well?
What differs me with most people is that I've been down this so-called rabbit hole for longer than most. I mean, my sort of wake-up call was 1980, and since then I continued as a very confused individual, first as a reporter and then getting myself more and more into like forensic criminal detective type of work. And just on my own, I had absolutely no idea what I was getting myself into. But then over the years, I've got completely zoomed in on big cases like JFK, and then that took me into Martin Luther King, that took me into Robert Kennedy, that took me into Malcolm X. And at that point, I had no idea that there were any type of connections between these operations. Absolutely not. I thought these were, very singular events that were no connections. And then after the alleged assassination of Olof Palme, where this book that you just showed, Coup d'etat in slow motion, which is like almost 1,000 pages, about that operation and the connections into so many on a global scale. When that happened, I really came to like an absolutely life-changing, mind-blowing experience when I understood that there was actually a force behind them, a common force that was like a hidden power structure in the world that was dealing with in a very brutal way with so-called problems, including individuals that were standing up against their agenda. And so, yeah, I like I said, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but I just got deeper and deeper and deeper into it, and I've over the years, from top political assassinations, I got myself into what is called false flag operations, alleged terror attack. Please notice the word alleged. Alleged mass shootings. Please notice the word alleged. Real terror attacks, real mass shootings, and then from there on into the hidden, very sinister world of Gladio, the ghost army of NATO, that have, if I'm correct, which is very tightly working with organizations like the CIA, the Mossad, completely hand in hand, carrying out a lot of random violence towards many civilizations, many societies around the world, especially countries that are soft or used to be soft, so to get these countries into accepting more and more surveillance, more and more militarized police, so cameras, you name it, digital surveillance tools and whatever, all of it pushing into slavery. They needed to base it on fear. So this whole strategy, it's called the strategy of tension, of how to scare the living bejesus out of people to make them accept their solution, which is all the time the same, more and more control. Exactly what we're seeing being played out massively in the world now. It's really, you're standing face to face with a beast now. It's not even trying to hide its ugly face anymore. But it used to be very covert, very like this. Now it's full on. So if you feel something that smells like sulfur in the air, I tell you, it's the bad breath of the beast. And yeah, for some reason, I felt that it's just been like my dharma. It's when I look from a logic point of view, there's no logic to what I've been doing, because it put myself in really horrendous situations. I mean, I've been shot, I've been poisoned, I've been almost hit by cars, I've had I don't know how many death threats. I put my family through a lot. We moved country twice. We now live in Bali because of this. And I now face up to 18 years in prison back in Sweden if I return. Not that I'm even Swedish, but because of what I've been talking about and exposing over the years. So it's like people like myself have been standing for many, many years saying, hello, 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 there's something going on in the background. And no. And then only thanks to their own absolute mind-blowing fucking operation type of things, like the COVID one, that was when finally enough people got fire under their butts to start realizing that, whoa, this is actually something that I should have a look at. Because up until then, most people were so into their own world, their own desires, couldn't care less about their neighbors or anyone else's, I, me, mine. But COVID, this that had nothing to do with the virus, if you ask me, but was a complete operation for pushing towards global control in all the different aspects of that. And also, unfortunately, mass destruction through biological warfare called vaccines and other stuff, PCR tests, and that absolutely horrendous type of technology used against humans. But it was only through that, what I call the Great Retreat, where people were shut down, gave Mother Earth a chance to recover a little bit, get a breath in, and nature to say, oh my God, is this what it is to be without humans? It feels really good. But the rest of us were locked in for reasons that they didn't tell us, but we had to suddenly spend time with ourselves and our families and our close ones, and started looking like, holy moly, who am I surrounded by? I mean, who are these strangers that used to be babies and are now teenagers? We haven't seen each other since about 15 years ago, but here we are, locked into the same room. And so I think a lot of beautiful things happened, very confronting, very challenging things happened in these homes when people had to start looking at their life. Is this rat race really what I want to be? What is life all about? Because everything has now been taken away from me. I can't even get outside this apartment. So indirectly, I think that was a blessing, which is the beautiful thing of these horrendous things, because it comes in a package of two. You have the dark, and then there's this beautiful thing that comes with it if we choose that. So this is also why my website is Light on Conspiracies. I mean, focus the light into the belly of the beast with the intention of absolute compassion, forgiveness, and abundance for everyone. A beautiful, beautiful future, including the absolute assholes that are doing it to us. I mean, I am searching for peace in every single atom of this universe. Bypass duality and get to the oneness. That is my focus. But on the way there, somebody has to go into the shadows and say, I call you. And this is where it gets really scary, because these are extremely brutal forces and extremely ruthless assholes on a scale, psycho level. I mean, you think the mob is something that you should be scared of? Holy, you ain't seen nothing. It's and I'm not here to freak people out. I'm here to say there's a different way, and the way is out of fear, because it's only through fear that they can control us. So the thing is to transcend this, not with violence, not with guns, not with revolutions. In my opinion, I don't know what the solution is. I just know that the weapon they are using against us is always based on fear. So the moment you start letting go of fear, the less of a grip they have. They are really trying to keep you down in the mud, have you by the balls, and just pumping you with propaganda like fear, 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 life is horrible. This is the end of times. It's all over now. Just bend over, pull down your pants and surrender. There's nothing. You're on your own. You have nothing, just accept it, and let us terminate you or make you into a slave or do whatever we want, as long as you will given enough, just exactly enough to survive and continue as our free labor or whatever it is, So I say, well, absolutely, thank you, but absolutely not. This is my blessing tools. You can get this from me, and if you didn't understand that, there's about 10 of them here, like that. That's a multiple fuck you weapon. But I mean fuck you, bless you in the same breath, because I thank these forces for helping us to wake up, because apparently they're needed. Otherwise, if we hadn't been so lazy and so not caring, it wouldn't have had to come to this point, the way I see it. Absolutely not. Have we, when I started, I mean, I'm just one of many, but if people had said, oh my God, is that really so? Let me look into it. If that happened like 45 years ago, I tell you, a lot of things around me would have been a lot easier. And all the people, I mean, I've reached millions over the years. If that had happened earlier on, who knows what this place would have looked like. And the thing is, people say, oh, you're doing it to sell books. I've sold fuck all when it comes to books. I put, like the book you showed me, I put 12 years of my life into it. I've had people murdered around me. This is the collection. Yeah. It's like, and what have I sold? Like, have I sold 1,000 in total? I don't think so over the years. What I'm saying is, where's the benefit? There's absolutely no benefit. If you look at me, fame and fortune, what does that mean? I mean, nobody knows who I am here, where I'm now in the 4th country I live in. We moved 20 times, so it's anonymity is my security, so this fame thing, what would that benefit me? And money wise or whatever wise, I have everything. And I've even had to really struggle with people around me because they don't understand, they think it's too dark and they think, come on, let it go, stop caring. I just cannot. I cannot. So yeah, I would really, really appreciate if more and more of us started letting go of fear, taking the power back to ourselves, not in a violent way. It's just a matter of stop obeying. Whenever they say whatever they're trying to scare you to do, it's just, thank you so much for offering me. I'm so not doing it. I am not doing it. Yeah, but if you don't, then what? Bring it on. Yeah, but in that case, it's like being up against a school bully. These people, once you call them, they're nothing. They're always only in a group they can attack you, or if they're big and with a lot of muscles. But the thing is, if you say, okay, fuck it, I will just stand up, beat the shit out of me, I'm still not giving up. Threaten me, sorry, I'm still here. Okay, kill me. There you go, that's the ultimate. But then again, apparently there's an expiry date on this meat suit anyway, so why not maybe, if it's time to leave, I mean, I face this quite often. If it's time for me to leave, then okay, how did I enjoy the ride? Yeah. Holy moly, it was a ride for sure. It had everything, violence and threats and romance and drama. I mean, I couldn't have asked for more. Did I enjoy it all? Not at all. It was awful in many times, but as a spiritual experience, my God, what a boot camp. So no complaints there. And if it's time to go, thank you so much. I have the flag on top. I'm proud of myself. I stand like this. And yes, dead, that's it. Some people claim, especially here in Bali, where reincarnation is the truth to them. So boom, okay, I'm dead. Boom, I'm back. So that would be great. If not, then at least I know I did everything. I really, from the bottom of my heart, I did everything I could. That compared to, I look the other way, I let people get hurt, whatever, and then I die at 93 with diapers on and no pride, and just like, what did I do with my life? Compare the two. And there you go. Hello.
Well, I mean, first of all, I personally, I'd just like to figuratively and literally tip my cap to you and just say that, I really respect what you do, because from my perspective, just when I started learning about, to keep things short, the truth behind how a lot of things work in politics and world affairs and government and healthcare and everything, right? And you start to focus on that and learn and research, and you obviously, for lack of a better term, you find an interest in it, right? You have passion in it. Obviously yourself, you can understand that. You must have great passion for it. But some people, friends and family, sometimes they start to look at you a little different. They treat you a little different. And I mean, some people, I don't know if you've had experience with this, but people just, drag the bottom of the barrel, and they call you a racist, or, some sort of, misogynist, or, you hate some sort of people, anti-Semites, or just, they might just call you a kook, right? But obviously there's a lot going on in the world, and for you to experience everything that you say that you've experienced, which just sounds awful, and for you to stand up and like you say, act outside of fear, and just keep going. Props to you, Ollie. That's a very commendable thing, I think. If you don't mind me asking, what is the detail? What are the details surrounding the Sweden case?
Oy. That is the most expensive murder investigation in the history of the world.
It was a murder investigation.
Yeah, it's it's a mystery to this very day. It's said that he was murdered in 1986 in February, shot dead by a lone assassin or lone crazy guy. Sounds familiar. And
maybe
over the years, then investigations that have been put into it have found nothing except they really messed up people's lives, like myself, and been pointing to from one patsy to the next one. And then when this was not enough, then they put a commission there, truth commission, to find out the real truth. And then when that didn't work, because the commission seemed to be more interested in covering the whole thing up as well, they put another commission. And a year or so later, when they came with their report that showed that they were more interested in covering the whole thing up and not finding out the real truth, then they put another commission. And then the commission looked into not the investigation, not the murder, but the investigation, and then the first commission and the second commission, and then they came up with nothing except what looked like a cover-up. And then when we weren't satisfied with that, they came up with another commission. There's been 4 so far. And so the thing is, what are they covering up? Every single witness, every single observation when that happened that night has been, people have been traumatized, scared, nothing has been done the way it should have been. It's exactly like the JFK assassination. That, like, JFK is like a template that has just been used again and again. And so this case is extreme, because the thing is, if I'm correct, I put like 40 years of my life into this case, and I'm looked upon like an absolute loony by many people in the area, because they think that I'm just trying to put all the pieces together, and they think the solution is one. The thing is, when the difference between myself and others is, like, I've been going into these cases on an international level for so many years. So I've looked into, I don't know how many hundreds of cases. I dug very deep in so many of these, and I started seeing a very clear pattern on how these operations are carried out. And so The difference is that I come in from that perspective, a bit of like a helicopter view, instead of just staring at the murder site. Where did the shot come from? That is. And then when suddenly that night, when you have like multiple of the absolute top assassins from around the world were there, present that very night, and that very night alone, most of them have somehow confessed that they were part of this operation. All of that is being pushed to the side. These were teams from South Africa. There were people from the CIA, from DINA in South America, all of them working together, but in two different teams. They were not aware of each other. And I don't know, Jordan, this is a super complex case. The thing is that if I'm correct, then the Swedish prime minister, who was not just a Swedish politician, he was like a top level player with Kissinger, Bush, these other people. He's the only Swedish politician that has reached that rank. He was not just anyone. I'm telling you this. This was a dude who was really involved on a very deep, very high level. And
sorry, Ollie, this is Olof
Palme.
Palme. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so the thing was that it seems like, I'm just going to go through what happened, if I'm correct.
Please.
So around a couple of years before he died, he started having symptoms, very weird symptoms of some kind of disease. He went to different doctors and different specialists and stuff. They couldn't figure out what is going on with this. But there was something unusual going on. He was going to a virus institute. There were professors looking at, but at the same time, the people around Olof Palme were sort of keeping this very secret, because like this was not good. His career was really going like this. He was supposed to be the Secretary General of the United Nations. He was a peace negotiator in the Iran-Iraq war. He was like, he was a big thing in the world. He was invited by Castro. He was invited by the Sandinist regime. He was like with the PLO in Palestine. He was the good guy in the world, standing up against the apartheid regime in South Africa. And so he was the symbol of a lot of good. I tell you, this was a double-faced individual, because his loyalty, when you really start looking into it, was to completely different aspects. He was part of making multi-billion-dollar arms deals with India. He was part of all kinds of stuff, connected to the banker families, the big ones in the world, and so on. So he was like playing this two-faced thing. But anyway, so something was very wrong with him, and this was exactly the time when the so-called AIDS epidemic exploded in the world. In 85, when Rock Hudson was the first one who took on to be the first famous person to stand up and say, I've got AIDS, But in those days, it was seen as a plague. It wasn't a disease, it was a gay plague, and it was so shameful. Anyway, now we're finding out that this AIDS was also a bioweapon created by Fauci and another doctor called Robert Gallo, that had been given it by the U.S. State Department. They got a contract of how to create this bioweapon to mainly target homosexuals, minorities, immigrants, people of lesser mind, mental institutions like that they could sort of mass extinct, but through this disease, and also make an absolute fortune, just like with the COVID thing, where it was the vaccines that was the problem. These people most of them were super healthy. They're in the gay community. Then they were offered a free hepatitis B or C injection, because, and right. So they lined up in San Francisco, they lined up in New York, there was in Mental, and they were pumped with this bioweapon. And then that was the thing that started the whole thing. And then they used this as a weapon around in the world to eliminate whole countries, almost like in Africa. Many millions of people were destroyed like this. And when you look at the areas where this was released, you will see that it's very often like surrounding areas that have a great wealth in diamonds or uranium or minerals, or controlling rivers or the roads or whatever. So when you look from a military point of view of an invisible invasion, that's how it's done. You just boom, knock these things out. And a lot of also orphan children, pushed into these networks. It's just very, very dark and sad. But anyway, Jordan, this is a long story, but what happened was that it came to a point where the Swedish Prime Minister was in a situation where he had to make a choice, because this disease would show very quickly. They found out that he had what went under the name of AIDS, whatever that is. And so it was just a matter of time before this disease would show that, this is a disease you cannot hide. So his advisors gave him two options. They said, listen, either you do what is said to be the right thing to do. You called for an international press conference. You said, I've been a really bad boy. I've been having gay sex with this person, that person. I've also been involved with prostitutes, all of these things that was sort of kept under the surface. I've caught this very shameful disease, but I stand for what I've done. But from now on, my name will be forever connected with this very shameful gay plague stamp. My family will be completely destroyed by it, my party, my life work, everything. Option one. Option two, we stage an assassination. We stage an assassination where a double, it's just like a film set. A double is taken out, boom. At the same time, the real Olof Palme was flown out in a private jet plane from the French prime minister. These were Bilderbergers. There's like a Bilderberg network that is surrounding this whole thing. Mitterrand's private jet plane flew him down to south of Europe, and then it seems like he was taken to the US, where he was given the best treatment possible, and he could have his mistresses, his family come and visit, all of that. So at the same time as this stage assassination would happen, there would be this propaganda machine that would create the legend Olof Palme, that would be forever be in neon lights, this freedom fighter who stood up for freedom, democracy, fight, who was then shot dead for what he stood for, the ultimate sacrifice. And boom, the legend Olof Palme would be born like this, never to be criticized, never to be anything like that. So he decided, let's go for the legend. That thing. Everybody involved said, we can do it very discreetly. No one will ever find out what happened. We will do it on the last Friday of the winter holidays in central Stockholm, but outside a very, very specific building that they had full control of. It's an insurance company called Skandia, owned by or founded by Olof Palme's own family, and it was the headquarters for Stay Behind for many, many years, where William Colby used to work in there. It's like the center. It would be like, it's almost like a hidden Langley, like a hidden CIA headquarters discovered, concealed as an insurance company, but actually you're talking CIA headquarters. But this is the Stay Behind headquarters of Sweden, right outside. We're talking like 6 feet outside this building. We're not talking about nearby. We're talking right outside the entrance. Okay, so they choose that date, and because at that specific date, the last Friday of this winter holiday, then they could just most people were up, going skiing in the north of Sweden. The generals, the king, everybody was out of town on that specific night. They even undid the lighting, everything like that. Very dark, very few people in the street, and that was where they were going to set it up. Is it okay that I go on, because it's going to be a bit of a time-consuming thing? If you're
Please continue, Ole. Yeah.
okay, so they decided, let's do it like this, but we need to keep it very, very tight, very, very close. Only very, very few people can know about this. So it was Olof Palme, it was his advisor, Carl Lidbom, it was the head of the secret police, that was then the police chief in Stockholm. It was his best friend, who was officially a book publisher, but who was working for what was called IB3, which is Stay Behind Gladio in Brussels, coordinating their operations in Sweden. And then you had a film director, Harry Schein, who was the best friend of Olof Palme, and a James Bond type individual, like a right-wing police officer, who was also extremely connected to Stay Behind the whole Gladio one. Very, very sharp, very, very skilled individual. So this tiny little group of people prepared for this operation. So Olof Palme's last 6 months was to eliminate all kinds of evidence that could show or destroy the legend once that was released out into the world. So he had to get rid of all of the evidence of him being involved with big weapon deals or weapon smuggling, arms smuggling, different things, pedophile trafficking, these type of things. Get rid of it. But nobody could know what he was doing. So for the last 4 or 5 months of his life, he suddenly started acting like this. He became this person who he stopped gunpowder deliveries that was aimed to go to Iran, the Iran-Iraq war. He stopped that. He went out big time and gave up the North Sea oil to Norway, which was like, oh, what the hell? Like, the unbelievable. He said, we want a nuclear power, a nuclear free zone for the whole of Scandinavia, which also included the entrance into the Baltic Sea, meaning like this to the US. Like, yeah. It was like unbelievable. And it was just the one thing after the other. He was doing these things. In my opinion, he was sitting there shredding documents, clearing his name. He was also, at this point, he was involved with George Bush and Oliver North in the Iran-Contra scandal, where, the arms, they were shipping out arms from the National Guard with no numbers, no serial numbers, down to the Contras in Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, which was complete genocide down there, but also weapons one way, drugs in. That was the thing that created the whole crack epidemic in the US, completely based on George Bush Sr.'s network, and with the help of the local governor at the time, Bill Clinton, a super drug addict, and his partner in crime, Dan Lasseter. These two, and then the Bush boys, the Marvin and Boy George, and Jeb Bush, also in Florida, were part of distributing the drugs like that. But anyway, so Olof Palme was indirectly involved in this through sometimes signing what is called end-user certificates of different type of weaponry, because according to international arms laws, you have to show that weapons are exported to non-fighting countries. You cannot export, at least Sweden cannot, there might be, but international says, anyway, so what they were doing is they were sending the weapons like to what they call red and green countries, like zigzagging like this, and then they ended up right in these different war zones around the world. And anyway, so Olof Palme had been part of this whole thing, making a bundle, and then in this whole process of him completely turning around, doing the exact opposite, freaking people out around him, like the bankers that he was completely loyal to, he couldn't inform them, and they were like, what the hell is going on? You will see his behavior is completely like this. He was sitting, people who was working around him in the government said, he couldn't care less about anything. He used to be so into stuff. Now he was just sitting playing his flute. Sometimes he was crying. Sometimes he was just saying, do whatever you want. I don't care. People, if you read the memoirs of people that worked around him, was like, what on earth is going on with this dude? And so he was starting to be looked upon as a real threat because this guy was just like out of control. Anyway, so back to George Bush and stuff. So Bush was in a bit of a tricky situation at the time with the Iran-Contra thing about to explode. And so he said, okay, get Palme to sign some more of these, I think it was Stinger missiles, end user certificates. So Palme said no. And Bush was like, what? Come again? And Palme said, no, fuck off. And so Oliver North was sent there about a month before the assassination. The alleged assassination took place the 28th of February in 1986. So he went there in January, and he went up and he saw Olof Palme. He said, listen, I'm here with these papers, please sign them. And Olof Palme said, I told you, just fuck off. I don't want to ever see you again, you and the rest of it. If you don't back off, I'm going to expose you all. And so that was what Oliver North brought home with him to George Bush Sr. And George Bush Sr., if you don't know who that is, I mean, if you've ever seen I don't even want to say a human monster, if you've ever seen a super psycho killer monster, pedophile, satanic in one individual, one meat suit, that's the dude. Kissinger is another one, and they are friends. But I mean, you do not do things like that against George Bush Sr. So George Bush said, holy shit, this guy needs to be stopped. Because also he was just about to go to Moscow and meet Gorbachev. And many people looking at his behavior, including the military in Sweden and so on, saying, oh my God, he's going to sell out Sweden. He's going to like, he even ordered the Swedish police, if Sweden would be invaded, in this case from the east, that the Swedish police should just surrender and start working for the occupying forces.
Oh, wow.
The Swedish police and military were like, holy shit, what's going on? Okay, so anyway, I back a little bit, because once they were planning and going ahead with this thing, they started seeing that, okay, we can control an assassination like this, but it will be very easy after a while, if somebody really start looking into it, to pinpoint these different individuals, because they were aiming specifically at a group, a very highly disciplined right-wing group of police officers, I believe connected to Stay Behind as well, under the control of the police chief, Hans Holmér. They went under the name of the baseball gang because they were infamous for walking around in civilian clothes with baseball bats and kicking the living Jesus out of drug addicts and stuff in central Stockholm. They were cleaning the streets, if you understand what I meant. I mean, they had like, I don't know how many people they beat up. One of them ended up dead in an interrogation room. And of course, nobody was ever sentenced for anything of this. But anyway, so these were the ones that they were going to use to carry this thing out. How much they knew about this being a stage event, I don't know, or if they thought that they were really involved in an assassination or whatever. The thing is, what they found out was that we need to make this somehow real, because otherwise, if we have people that knows that it's a setup, that knows the big secret, I mean, this would be a scandal on incredible levels if this ever came out, and could affect, trading agreements and the impression of Sweden as this country. They use Sweden as this poster baby, any type of thing they want to push on the world, they use Sweden. Always Sweden. Well, if Sweden accepts it, then it must be good, because ABBA and Porn, Björnborg and whatever. Okay, so a no. So what they said, okay, if we only need our own people, somebody like this nosy individual could just expose the whole thing. And also the risk of blackmail, anyone involved that knew the whole picture could just turn around and say, yeah, I know you did it. Pay me forever and ever and ever. Look at what Howard Hunt did against Richard, Richard
Right.
Nixon,
Right.
with the JFK assassination, the Cuban thing. No, he was blackmailing him, and so his Ehud Hunt's wife Dorothy ended up getting blown to smithereens in a big plane. Anyway, big story. Let's return. And anyway, so what they decided to do, let's do it like this. We send out a contract on you. Olof Palme sent out a hit contract on himself, sending it to specifically a hit team in South Africa under the leadership of a major called, or actually colonel, called Craig Williamson. Craig Williamson was only handed like the money and the contract, not knowing what was going on in the background. And he hated the dude anyway, and had been very much in Stockholm years ago as what they called like a super spy. He was there infiltrating the whole thing in Sweden all the way to the top. So it seems like he was almost at a top where he was part of writing speeches for Olof Palme, at least very, very close to him. He had managed to infiltrate his way all the way up there before he got exposed. It was a big scandal in Sweden. And then he managed to escape back to South Africa. But now, years later, he was the guy that they took and gave the contract to, because he knew everything about Stockholm. He knew the inside of buildings and the layouts and everything, the government building. So he was the perfect one to do it. So he started putting together a hit team in a place called Daisy Farm outside Johannesburg, where they were training to take out Olof Palme for about 3 months. I've been to that exact the headquarters of this death squad in South Africa. I had to cross the Crocodile River, almost drowned, and got there. And they completely demolished it now. But anyway, that was where it was all planned. So the whole idea was that this hit team, if we call it the South African hit team, because it was from South Africa, but it was like with mercenaries and assassins from Mozambique. There were 2 Germans. There was 1 Norwegian soldier of fortune. There was other people involved. They always put them together like this, so it's very hard for anyone to see any connection. Anyway, so they were flown from Johannesburg to Luxembourg and then transported in a VW van up to Stockholm some months before. The whole idea was that this small little group of right-wing police officers, the baseball gang in Sweden, would be their controllers. So they moved them around, so that the neighbors wouldn't notice anything. They were moved around from different small hotels to cottages to whatever. They lived down in the forest. They were like this. And they were also supplied guns. And this was the crucial thing, because the James Bond type that I described before, his name was Carl Gustav Östling. His task was to, when the day came that he exchanged the ammo in the assassin's weapon to be blanked, so that it would be a theater murder. It would be a staged murder, not a real thing. But everybody involved would think that it was a real murder. Okay, otherwise it wouldn't work. Otherwise they would have this problem with the blackmail, with all of this whole thing. And in this case, if anyone had seen anything, it could very easily be pointed at South Africa, and South Africa would go down and take the blame. This is also why just 1 week before Olof Palme was officially assassinated, ANC had a conference in Stockholm. And this is where in many documentaries you see Olof Palme saying he was talking about the apartheid regime as one of the most awful, loathsome, horrendous systems, unhuman. Like he was really going full on against South Africa. The reason he did that was to make him the target. Do you see what I'm saying? He was setting the whole thing up, setting the stage so that it could be pinpointed that way. Okay, so that's Team South Africa. Then we have George Bush Sr. in the US. Are you with me so far?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so without anyone knowing it, like when George Bush and the Swedish police and other people internationally started seeing that, oh my God, Olof Palme is completely out of control. What the hell happened? Has he got some like blood thing in his brain that just exploded, or what the hell? He just did like a 180 on all of them. So there was a series of panic meetings in Wiltshire, England, where you had different people from NATO, from Norway, Denmark. There were different business people from a very high level, Bilderbergers. There was people, anonymous people from different agencies, and there were people connected to George Bush Sr. And anyway, so during these there was these secret meetings. We managed to get some documents from a it's like labeled cosmic secret. It is like the top of 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 top secret things. We have in the book also, I have a few of these documents from these meetings. Anyway, so at these meetings, they just decided this dude needs to be stopped. We need to take him out. And how are we going to do it? So they decided, let's send in a team. It needs to be controlled locally. Weapons need to be deployed locally, but otherwise than that, we send a team in and make sure to stop him before he gets to meet Gorbachev in Russia, which was in the beginning of March, just a few days after his official death. Okay, so this went under the name Operation Tree because Palme, Olof Palme, very often by English-speaking people, his name is Olof Palme. They forget about the E. And so I don't know where or if that was the reason, but anyway, it went under the name of Operation Tree or Operation Pansia Unisia. But anyway, so they said, send in a team, map his movements, and let's take him out before this is too late. Okay, so Operation Tree, we call them Operation Tree, are sent in, and this consists of top assassins like Michael Van Townley, who was a top assassin from the US connected to Dina in South America, with two Chilean hired guns, Roberto Chiemi and Julio Izquierdo, really skilled killers. They went in together with Stefano Della Chiai, who was he was known as the Prince of Terror. He was involved in hundreds of terror attacks, including the bombing of the train station in Bologna, a ruthless mass murderer who was used by Franco and other people sent around, also down in South America, Operation Condor and these mass extinction programs like that. And also one additional one that might be a friend of mine that I'm not sure, who was very, very close to George Bush as an assassin. I'm not really sure. But these people at least were sent in to start mapping Olof Palme's movements around and where to do the hit. And when they arrived there, while covering his butt, covering his tracks, no, that's not true, while mapping his movements, they discovered, oh my God, there's already a team here, because they saw the South African team. And so they went, what the hell? It seems like somebody's already planning to do that. So they send this information back to the Wiltshire group, Operation Tree, saying, what are we going to do? And they said, great, let's just stealth the group. You just follow right behind them. So you are sort of as a shadow on top of that team. And then when they do it, whatever, they didn't know it was a staged event. The South African team didn't know there was a staged murder. All of them thought they're going to kill him. But anyway, so Operation Tree went in with the order, make sure that the job is done and make sure that it would be pointing straight to them. So go in and completely sabotage whatever it is they're doing. Just make sure that Olof Palme is dead and that it would be traced back to them. Sabotage for them so they're going to get caught. That's the whole. Okay, so there are two teams on that evening. Do you see what I'm saying? This is I've written a 3-season series for Netflix. They're in the thinking about what they're going to do. But I tell you, the day that, not that I trust Netflix at all, but anyway, true crime is a big thing in the world. It is anyway. So on the evening of the assassination, it was set at this date that was very specific on the last Friday. If you noticed, most big things happen on a Friday afternoon or evening, if it's like blowing up Twin Towers or assassinations or whatever it is, if I'm correct, then the reason for that is the stock market. What they do is, boom, it happened, and then they close the stock market out of condolences for the widow or whatever. Absolute bullshit. What they do is, it's a matter of stock options before something happens, where the ones that know that a major thing will happen is making absolute fortunes. So just before things happen, you will see, whoa, it goes like this, and boom, it happens. And then it's a matter, they need to cover their tracks. They need to erase this whole thing with the stock options. So by closing down the stock market, they have Saturday, Sunday, sometimes half of Monday, where the flags are down on half. Oh, it's so sad. It's so sad. And during that time, they just cover their tracks like this. And then Monday, when they open up, boom, everything all are gone. Everything is like that. They made an absolute heist, a killing, literally, with no one even knowing it happened. That's why the Friday. Check out Fridays when you look at these big ones. So here we had a Friday night. Surprise, surprise. And so the thing is, the idea is that Olof Palme and his wife went to the cinema. They were there, which is a perfect timing for a hit team, because somebody goes into a cinema, they will be stationary for an hour and a half, which is perfect. Then you can get everything prepared and ordered. So when the target comes out, everything is in place, getaway cars, whatever, And this is exactly what we see. After they go in, there's about between 50 and 200 observations of walkie-talkies surrounding where he lived, where he worked, and the evening when they went to the cinema. All of them have been police have not looked at any of them. They've always just to say, no, you saw something else, you forgot. This was before cell phones or mobile. So these were big military things, and they were out in the open. Anyway, so when they're in the cinema, you will see both teams are present outside. This is what makes things very confusing. And then when they get out, they start walking down instead of taking the subway home. And it's like 11:30 at night, or right after 11 p.m. They cross the street and they go to the corner of that specific building, the Scandia insurance company. Stay behind headquarters. Let me repeat that. What are the chances that in that exact building, like 6 feet from the entrance to that's where he's shot? I mean, it's 1 in a gazillion that would just be a coincidence. So anyway, and there's tunnel systems. There's about 600 kilometers of tunnels under Stockholm, all of it controlled by the military. So anyway, what happened was that there's like a triangular poster thing right outside where the entrance used to be, with posted like this, a triangle like this, making it a perfect place for a swap to happen. So you had like the double and a double wife was standing waiting there. Olof Palme and his wife came like this. Can you see that nobody can see two sides at the same time?
Okay.
Then they turn around, the doubles goes back to where he's supposed to be shot, and these two are led in through the entrance, out on the back, taken in a car, and where she goes to the hospital, his wife, and he goes and is taken to an airport where he's then flown out in this French François Mitterrand's private jet plane from the Glam fleet. Okay, so that's the plan. Anyway, so the swap is made. The assassin is standing waiting there. In all the documentaries, you'll see this assassin standing like this with his hands, with a cap like this and a big blue coat. And then Olof Palme walks up and he steps out and just back of him, puts his hand on his shoulder, boom, fires a .357 Magnum into the back of the dude. He falls over, stone dead, and then he fires one shot at the wife, misses. Then he turns around and runs up for these very iconic stairs that have now become like a symbol for this assassination. And that's the last observation of the assassin that you see. Okay, so what happened? The hit team from South Africa is helped out. Nothing is happening. The police don't react. Everything is delayed for about 5 hours. So the hit team is let out before any airports or anything is closed. They're also observed inside the police buildings. They're observed in a overnight stay apartment owned by the IPA, the International Police Association. Anyway, so they're flown out like this with diplomatic passports also. But the thing is that when the guy steps up, the dude, right before he's supposed to shoot the prime minister and his wife, he's recognized by a coincidence. This is where I say God has got a sense of humor. There's always something that goes wrong. And so this guy is standing there waiting with a gun in one armpit and a walkie-talkie in the other, like this, waiting for Olof Palme and his wife to come from the cinema. Okay. It is said that this lone assassin that they blame it on, he was just like psychic. So he knew that they were going to walk that exact, I mean, come on.
Really?
Bullshit. But anyway, so he's standing there waiting, and then there are two Finnish girls that are on the way home after being to the cinema, and they're like, what are we going to do? Should we go partying or should we take the train home? And then one of them recognizes this guy who's standing there by the corner, standing like this. She recognizes him. His name's Antti Absan, and she recognized him from a gym up north of Stockholm. And so he's a Finnish-speaking guy, but brought up in Sweden. So she approaches him and says in Finnish, excuse me, mitä kello, whatever it is, do you know what time it is? And he looks absolutely shocked like this. And then he takes up the walkie-talkie. He says in Finnish, I've been recognized. What should I do? And then somebody else is saying, just fuck it. Do whatever you're supposed to do. So the girl, who also noticed that he had a big gun like that in his right arm, and like they are like, oh fuck. So they back off and think that there's some kind of drug deal going down or something like that. So they take off, and then on the other side of the road they hear boom, boom, like this. And they think that they saw the real killer. I would strongly suggest that the real killer was exchanged at that point because he had been recognized. So they took and moved Antti Absan out. He's one of the baseball police officers who's now a judge. Fuck me. It's like he's
really?
He's working as a judge, and he's lecturing young people on anti-violence, and I mean, it's like absurd. But the real killer anyway was a Kurdish assassin that was put together in this job. His code name in this operation was Abdul Qasem. He's right now in the States living a secret life under another his real identity, which I have. But anyway, so what happens is, though, that I told you this was going to be a bit complex, but the guy who was standing there waiting to shoot Olof Palme, Antti Absan, did not know that the ammo had been swapped in his gun, because he was supposed to be the trigger guy. Okay, because he was recognized, he was exchanged by Abdul Qasem. He had live ammo. Do you see a problem here? So the double, who thought this was like some kind of film set, or it went under the name of anti-coup d'etat exercise, So he just thought, I don't know who the guy was, but anyway, I don't think he understood at all what he was doing. He was just there taking part of this operation, exciting. But what happened was that he went up there, and suddenly he was blown to like that from behind with a very powerful weapon, but at the very same time. And this is where it got completely fucked up for the next 40 years. because on the other side of the street was Operation Tree, who had placed snipers, at least one sniper on the other side of the road. So when the guy, they had I truly suspect also there was an infiltrator that was coordinating both groups. I think his name is Tommy Lindström. He was the head of the National Crime Division, who I believe have very strong connection with the CIA, and I think that he was double crossing. But anyway, so
Wow.
so they were informed on where it was going to happen, and so when there was a sniper and a spotter on the other side on a rooftop like that. So when the Abdul Qasem came from behind, had been given a green light to take Olof Palme out, he pressed his gun in the back of this double, not knowing that it was not Olof Palme, fired one shot. At the very same time as he fired that, another shot was fired from the rooftop on the other side of the road with a fine caliber, high velocity weapon, some kind, I think a 5.2 millimeter high velocity. I don't know the weapon itself. Anyway, there's also a witness that heard 3 shots, like boom, 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 like this. Anyway, so the dude, the double, goes down. Instead of not being dead at all, because they were supposed to be using blanks, this individual suddenly has 2 bullet holes, one from each direction. And so the ones that are everybody thinks that everything is okay, the hit team thinks that they did the hit. They don't know about Operation Tree. Are you with me? So South Africa has no idea that another shot has been fired. Boom. Also, the patsy that Operation Tree was part of, or the stage assassination where South Africa was part of, had a patsy that they had prepared. It was a guy. His name was Josef Fritzl. Do you recognize that name? Josef Fritzl was years later exposed as having had his daughter held prison for about 24 years in his basement. He even had, I think, 5 kids with her. And he later became known as the monster, Josef Fritzl. That was the guy that they had prepared as a patsy. Why that was, I'm not really sure, but very often they use their own so they can control them. And I know that Josef Fritzl was working for the Mossad, and if he worked for the Mossad with passports and these type of things, then the CIA would have been very close to that as well. So anyway, so maybe they could use him because he had this secret with his daughter being held in the prison, that they could, keep him quiet during the trial or whatever, and then he would be, normally these people get suicided on location. But anyway, so there we have it. Unbelievable, Josef Fritzl, and that's the dude. So where was I? So anyway, so the Operation Tree team, who was set there also to sabotage it, they were controlling some of the police cars this evening. There's a lot of police cars there that was officially not in use, but they were observed. And one of these police cars went and just when the patsy was going to be picked up and nailed for the case, this other police car, unidentified police car, stopped and started talking to him. So when the team that was there to arrest him as a patsy, suddenly they couldn't take him because there was already a police car there, completely messing it up. Do you see the sabotage part of the whole thing?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so
big involvement
so everybody thinks everything is fine. They're letting out the South African team like this, but then on the way to the hospital, in the ambulance, they discover that, holy shit, this dude is dead. He's not supposed to be dead. And in the ambulance, all the key positions around this assassination that evening are held by baseball police. I mean, this small little group, there were only 8 to 10 people. Like the ambulance driver, the one that took the alarm when the call was in, he was in baseball. The one driving the ambulance, baseball. the first 4 people, police officers that came 6 months before the real alarm went out. They were there 6 minutes before. All of them baseball police. We had the James Bond type baseball police. We had anti-Avsan baseball police. It's just all of them are there. What are the chances? And also, right after the thing came, when they called in and said somebody's been murdered here, there was a call sent out to only police cars with baseball police. So no one else knew about. Coincidence? My butt. I tell you, it's unheard of. So anyway, everybody thinks everything went fine until in the ambulance on the way, they have this dead body. Like he's not supposed to be dead. So they call in and they say, what the hell? He's shot. There's 2 shots, one from each direction. So at that point, imagine being the ones who have been preparing this top secret for so many months of this staged assassination, where the real truth cannot get out there, where they've held it so tightly closed, the secret that I mean, nobody should know about it. And suddenly a shot is fired out of nowhere, killing the dude completely. Can you see what I'm saying? So there's a delay of about 5 hours during the night, where I would suggest there's absolute panic. Like where the hell, who knew? Where did the shot come from? And so from that day on, and 40 years later, they've been trying to figure out where the hell did that shot come from, and cover their tracks with lies upon lies upon lies upon lies upon lies. And individuals like myself have got involved. Many people have died in mysterious ways, just around as in JFK. I mean, we're up to about 300 people that have died in weird ways. In Sweden, boy, so many, and so connected into other really dark cases. And so, as far as I know, this goes really wild now. Hold your hat, Jordan, if you still have it on. It's like, so I've said, over the years, I've had no idea about this. This is like, I wrote the book. It was published in 2005. In that, I don't mention anything about this solution I'm talking about now. I'm very detailing every single different trail that has been presented over the years. It's like a historical document about all of these different ones. And then I have one chapter where I call it Wild Speculations, where I'm just like, okay, since the official investigation is leading fuck all anywhere, nowhere, please allow me to speculate. And this is where I start speculating about the possibility of 2 different operations going on at the same time, because that really was so confusing for me for such a long time. I could not figure it out. And then, since then, it's just become clearer and clearer, and more people are stepping forward from the inside, talking about these things and helping. And so, and I tell you, Jordan, it has not been easy for me to stand up and say these things, because like, if you're the only one saying it, or like 1 or 2, and you got like the whole thing just looking at you as you're completely off your head. So anyway, I've done it. And then over the years, I've also been contacted by a secret source within some kind of Swedish military intelligence. I don't know who, but who have given me hints that every single time has just been like, oh my God. And then he disappears for like 3-4 months. And I think, no, I lost him. And then boom, he comes and he just drops like a bomb of new information. And every single time when I check it out, it has been correct. I don't know if I'm being played. Keep that in mind. I mean, this is one way that this could very well be done, that they place information with me since they know I'm going to go out with it, and they place information that is partly true and absolute based on lies, to divert me. So, but it's very detailed information. So I'm just going to share it with you. So I thought for many years that Olof Palme survived. He went out there. He lived under another some kind of hidden identity somewhere in the world. And I had like reports, the US and Russia. These two were the places, and also down in Greece, on an island that he used to love to be there. He was observed there by people who knew him and who loved him. I mean, it was not a secret. He was there, and people said, no, he's been here. Anyway, so this is the thing also when people get sloppy over the years, because he had a very specific look, a very big like nose like this, and a bit like Hitler haircut. So the thing is, just a nose job and some lenses would completely disguise him. Very easily he could look like anyone else. So anyway, so I have been informed that when he came to the US, I'm still trying to figure this thing out, because apparently the Secret Service was helping with his stay in the US, because when the Prime Minister's wife, for no apparent reason, went to the US with her bodyguard, the bodyguard was relieved from his duties by the Secret Service, and they took his wife and did stuff with her until I think they stayed there for 3 weeks. And then, so he was on holiday. So we've been speaking to the bodyguard, and he says, I don't know. This is the thing. These things are completely compartmentalized. Anyway, so so he seems to have been in the States. And according to this source I have, he says that he lived in the States under a secret identity called Karl Kupfer. Kupfer. Kupfer, Karl with a C, Karl Kupfer. Okay, that he lived in upstate New York, and then he lived on Satellite Beach in Florida. Now, Satellite Beach, I tell you, that is an interesting place, because that is very, very close to an Air Force base, and it's also very, very close to the Space Force base, which, if you ask me, I swear on my life that they are the ones responsible for the attack on Lahaina in Maui, and so many of these other directed energy weapons, laser attacks, starting fires in Paradise, and so many other places. That's the US Space Force. Sorry to be the bringer of bad news, but there you go. And anyway, so their home base, it's called St. Patrick's, I think, something like that, Air Force Base, that was then turned into US Space Force. He gave me an address that is like a stone throw away, that Olof Palme used to spend the summers there playing tennis with, I kid you not, sometimes George Bush Sr. and who was the other one? Some general and whatever his name was. I've got the exact address where he used to stay. And then they said that he had bodyguards from the CIA who used to stay at a golf club like right around the corner, right down Satellite Beach. Satellite Beach is like super narrow and very, very interesting place, because with a place like that, high security place, don't you think there would be some kind of clearance or that you had to go through some type of thing like that? Anyway, so I had a whistleblower in the US. I've been contacted by many people over the years who wants me to help them step forward as a whistleblower. And I mean, I'm like a one-man band, but I've helped other people do it, like really getting them in touch with hundreds of radio shows, standing by their side and getting the info out there before anything happened to them. And so this individual contacted me and asked the same, connected to all kinds of stuff on a very high level globally. Anyway, so this individual asked me, is there anything I can do for you? And I said, well, if you have the connections you claim you have, can you help me check out this name, Karl Kupfer, Satellite Beach and upstate New York? She had connections with all of the different departments, the sheriff, the this, the that, the military, all of them checked, and there was no trace of this individual at all.
Oh, wow.
So she said, either he's not, this is just bullshit, that it's just based on lying, or he has a security clearance on a level that is above her. And so she said, She can't get it. So she said that could be indirect proof that this is a high level operation. And I said, if it is true, then it is a high level operation. It cannot get higher. Okay.
Right.
So anyway,
Right.
so and what I also found interesting was that I didn't even know, but apparently I'd written it in my own book, that his uncle on his mother's side, his mother's uncle, his name was Karl Kupfer.
Oh, come on.
So I was like, holy shit, that really makes sense, because I mean, nobody connects the name Kupfer and Palme, and I didn't. I mean, I'm one of the most geeky individuals in this area. I had no idea. And then somebody pointed out, read your own book. And so anyway, so Karl Kupfer, and the name exists, and there's somebody with a virus thing that they discovered or something like that. I don't think it's the same individual. It doesn't seem like it, but that name, I think the one you find on the internet has 2 F's, not 1. But anyway, so according to the same source that said that he was in the US between these years and this year, I've always thought that Olof Palme actually died around July of 2021, because there was a symbolic thing done to his grave in Stockholm, where, yeah, it was symbolic. Somebody taped a silver cross over his tombstone and held and splattered fake blood on it, and cut down a tree that was next to his tombstone. And because the whole thing was Operation Tree, and this whole thing, it was just like, so in my newsletter in August of 2021, when this happened, and then for some reason there was no surveillance footage, nobody had seen it done, I'm like, come on, what? That is so not true. But anyway, so I said, is it possible? Yeah, the tree, can you see there's a tree next to it, to the stone, to the tombstone? Yeah, that tree, exactly. That one was cut down. And since the name of the operation was Operation Tree, and also this tree, there's a Freemasonic symbolism in it that I don't understand. I'm still trying to figure it out. But anyway, okay. If you search Olof Palme's grave vandalized or something like that for 2021, you will find the images. Anyway, so in my newsletter in August of 2021, I said, is it possible that he actually died now? He would then have been 94. That is not impossible. I just wrote it in my newsletter. This was way before this contact, the secret source. But anyway, so a few years ago, I was contacted by this individual. No, that's not it. It was like with a silver tape across.
Okay. That's all I'm getting. That's all I get.
Okay. I was just going to say, is that me on the left? No, it's not. But there you go. Can you see it in the middle down there?
Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
Can you see? So.
Oh, wow. That's odd.
There's a silver cross, and there's blood on it.
Yeah.
And they cut the tree. So it's a very, whatever it means, it's very symbolic. Can we agree on that?
We can absolutely agree on that. It's not your average vandalism. It's there's
not
a
like it's not somebody tagging the stone or writing fuck off or anything. There's a very is it the Andreas cross, or is it, I don't understand, but I'm just saying that for me, and that they didn't find who did it, and the camera suddenly didn't work. I mean, like, really, again? So, and the chopped off tree for me was like, okay, but because I've always claimed he is not buried there. There's no body in the grave. Just like with JFK, he was dumped out at sea. Here we have the same thing. And it's officially Olof Palme's wife is also buried there. Absolute baloney. If there's a body down there and it's of them, please cut off my right arm. Bring a chainsaw. You're welcome. So anyway, so this source of mine, he said that in the mid 90s, he then moved to Russia. Okay, and here's like, I also want to say that while doing all of these things, I got a signed photo from Shirley MacLaine. Let me show you. Who was the mistress of Olof Palme. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So Out on a Limb, the book when she's writing about the Swedish politician, that's Olof Palme, okay? Anyway, so she says, Ole, keep on writing, Shirley MacLaine. Okay, so anyway, so in the mid-90s, for some reason, he, according to this source, moved. I kid you not. I mean, that came out of nowhere. I have no idea how she got my address in Spain. I don't know. It was,
That's
and
wild.
I contacted her, and I said, "Thank you so much for this signed photo. It means a lot to me. Is there any chance that you, since you knew Olof, and he really meant a lot to you, that you would like write a foreword or something like that?" And I got a letter back from her lawyer saying more or less, "Back off. She doesn't comment anything. She doesn't do anything." It was a lawyer's letter saying like this to me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I think that she somehow snuck that photo.
Maybe, man. That was the first thing that I thought, that maybe she unofficially sent that.
But I was like, living in the south of Spain, how on earth did she get? Do you see what I'm saying? It's just like,
for sure, Ollie. Yeah.
But then again, I'm one of the only ones in the world who have been pointing at these things. If not, I'm one of 1, 2, 3 now. There's a handful now. In those days, I don't know anyone who was digging this deep. So I thought that was very symbolic for me to get that from her and keep on writing. What did she say? She's saying, keep digging. Keep digging.
Yes. Keep going. Do not give up. That's what she's saying.
Do not give up. You're onto something. That's how I interpreted it. Anyway,
man.
I was very happy for that photo. Never had a signed photo of any famous individual before. But anyway, so according to this secret source I had, he said that in the mid-90s, he then moved to Russia. Okay, fair enough. If you look at Olof Palme's family tree on his mother's side, you go into Russia. His uncles were deeply involved in different stuff in the Communist Party in Russia. And the Palme Duts, there were other uncles of his, were the ones that created the Communist Party in India. He's got a super strange family, super strange, involved in what do you call it, military intelligence on a very high level. I mean, we had Alan Dulles, who was a guest in their house. What's his name? Hermann Göring, the head of the Luftwaffe, was also a guest in their house. You know, it's like, what? So, yeah, not just an ordinary family. We see them, you know, when you see documentaries about him, he lives like in this suburban villa, you know, 2 kids and very like this very low key. Absolutely not. When you see on the other side, that he was a twin, double-faced at least individual. But anyway, so according to this source, it is said that he was then transferred to Russia to help, I kid you not, Boris Yeltsin set up his the whole intelligence platform that was preparing for Putin. Like, what on earth? So in Russia, he went on the name of Alexei Sudov, Zudov, Sudov, and he worked there under Yeltsin and then preparing for Putin's entrance. He was getting old at the time. And then now he's buried. I can't pronounce the name of the cemetery. It's the cemetery in Moscow where all the celebrities are buried. He's buried in section 18 under the name of Alexei Sudov, according to this source, and died in July of 2021. I've been begging anyone in Moscow to please, if you could get your butt to that cemetery and look for them. Please be discreet. I mean, these are active operations, so do not be too loud. But if possible, go to something on that cemetery that has number 18. If it's the section, it sounds to me it could not be the number of the grave, but it's 18 within brackets. So I think maybe there's a section 18 under the name of Alexei Sudov. He's buried close to, I kid you not, Gorbachev, and not far from Yeltsin either. Gorbachev was his friend. So we're in this world. I know you were going to talk about the New World Order, but here we are, because the New World Order is one group. It's not countries. It's not nations. These are just pieces on a chessboard, franchises being moved around,
Right.
like making an illusion of diversion, an illusion of conflict, an illusion of wars created by enemies. No, they're funding both sides. The name of the game for them is death, destruction, controlled, and horror, money. I mean, so they don't care. But when you look, whatever war you're looking at, as far as I know, very few of them are natural wars where like Jordan and Ole gets really pissed off and they say, fuck you, and they start shooting at each other. Right. There's a different thing behind. Like you look at the First World War, what was that about? You ask people, they don't know. You ask me, I don't know. I'm starting to learn now. Yeah, it was about gas and oil and down to the Middle East and stuff like that. That was the whole thing. That no, there was this, he was like the Duke of Serbia and he was assassinated. And then the whole world that didn't even know who he was started fighting.
Yeah, I always thought that was
a lot of sense. No, but in the background, you have the bankers on both sides, funding both sides. And so the Second World War was just like, World War 2.0. Same forces in the background, funding the same time, setting up the conflict, backing both sides, using people. I mean, now when you look at, I used to think that I knew history. Holy moly. I mean, my God, I've been to death camps. I've been to Sachsenhausen, Auschwitz, Dachau, all of these places. I've been to so many war cemeteries. I've been to Dunkirk. I've been to all of these places learning about history. Yeah, right. Now I'm like, what are you telling me? Because what I've been visiting are like graves of thousands and thousands and thousands of innocent victims that had no idea what it was all about, and that was sacrificed in these horrendous things where most of the time it's about drugs, weapons, nowadays organ trafficking, pedophile trafficking, oil, minerals, all it has freedom and democracy. My butt. Democracy, what does it even mean? And when you see, whoa, democracy is freedom because then we vote. Okay, so a lynching mob that decides we're 24 that wants to strap this thing up with a hose, just hang him over there because we don't like them and because their skin color or whatever that is. That democracy because 24 said hang the bastard and 2 people said don't do it. No, democracy, sorry. But that is what we're being told is freedom and democracy. But then again, okay, fair enough. I like the idea of we vote and then, yeah. But if you got a hidden power in the background who does whatever they want anyway, and so this whole voting system is just completely rigged from day one. I mean, like nowadays, I've never voted in my life since I found out I've never seen a country, I've looked into many, where it's not this more or less the same system based on democracy. You got a handful of parties, okay? Which one do you want? There's always 2 big ones, the left, the right, the Democrats, the not Democrats, the this, the that, then got the central party or something like that in the middle often, and 2 small ones. So normally you got like 5. And then you got all of these individuals that represent these things. Looks really good on screen, and they're good at speaking from teleprompters. They look really nice and charming, most of them, like this. The only problem is, which finger do you want? It's connected to one arm, and that belongs to me.
Yeah.
So what do you choose? Why doesn't it ever change?
It's all the
Yeah,
same.
but now, this one is saying freedom, democracy, justice, lower taxes, power to the people. This one is saying, yeah, freedom, lower taxes, or free, yeah, whatever, yeah. So which one should we take? And I took that one, you took that one, and now change is going to happen. Have you ever? When has there end? Like, and then you have like what was it called? It's not elections. It is when they make the country vote about something. Like in Sweden, we had what is it called? In Sweden, we had about nuclear power. Okay, so Sweden said we don't want it. So they had this whatever it's called, not election, but like this. You vote and we see. And Sweden said we don't want it. Not a proposition either. There's a special name for it.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so Sweden says we don't want it, and so Sweden said, so let's have another one, and so they voted again, and this time Sweden said, okay, fine. And in the background, I've heard people being interviewed said we would just keep going until they said yes. Do you know CL Haq in Pakistan? We look at people or countries like Sweden could never be corrupt. I mean, this paradise and freedom tower of impeccable, like all of this. Okay, so a country like Pakistan, you think, yeah, but these are not so educated people and it's third world country, so maybe they're going to get away with it there. Okay, so in Pakistan, I was there, CL Haq, there was this president, the general, and he was being criticized. So he had one of these, what is it called? Where people could vote, and the thing they could vote for was him or not him. That was the vote. Okay. So he had 94% of the votes. That is quite impressive. 94%, 94.6. Wow. Oh, if it was 98.4, I don't know. He was super popular. When he spoke to people, he was hated. Okay. So anyway, so I was there when it happened. So how did he get these votes? Well, they had to come from all the different villages and vote. Yeah. And the papers that were voting like pro or against him, Mr. CL Haq, was colored, and the envelope that they had, they were like guards there with big guns, so they had to register. And then they got the vote. They could take the red and the green colored this, and then they went into this booth so nobody could see what they were doing, and they put this color thing in the envelope, and then they handed over the envelope. The thing was, the envelope was more or less see-through. I saw it. So the color was right there. So everybody knew, nobody dared to stand up against CL Haq because it was his armed guns that was standing waiting outside. Do you see what I'm saying? It's so rigged, but then it's used. Well, they voted. Did they really? They really? Not at all. And nowadays, especially in the US, and say when everything has gone digital, okay, so you think digital is trustworthy? I mean, you can do whatever you want when it's digital.
Yeah, scary. Yeah, very scary.
Well, I've been ranting on for a little while here. So.
Yeah, man, this has been great, man. Ollie, there are other things I would love to talk to you about, but I feel like I have taken a lot of your time, and I do appreciate it. So, I would love to have you back sometime if you ever would come back. But before we do wrap up, can you maybe just take some time to let everyone know where they can find you, anything you might want to promote, anything like that?
First of all, Jordan, it's been a real pleasure being here with you. I know that I've done most of the talking, but I can see in your eyes.
You're a great storyteller.
No, but I recognize in your eyes, I really like you. And why do I do that? Because you stand for truth. I can feel that. Truth and honesty, it's very clear. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. And so my website is called Light on Conspiracies. Light on Conspiracies. Yeah. Plural. You have to write it in one word, because if you don't, you will be misdirected. It will direct you somewhere else. That's the one. Ever feel lost or sensing hidden powers are in control? You're not alone, and you're not crazy. You are not. So my website there, if you haven't understood it until now, it's a very lonesome journey on my part. So if you think what I've been doing for such a big part of my life is worth anything, please consider donations, because the way that they hit me is financially. They can't get to me anywhere other way but financially. So donations, extremely appreciated, or sign up for membership. Or also, I've got the world's biggest research vault in this area, as far as I know. It's between 6 and 8 terabyte. There are hundreds of thousands of videos, documents, photos.
That sounds interesting. Can you get into that a little bit, because that sounds really interesting. I mean, I'm just interested by data and information. So
if you go to the menu on my website, go up there, up, and you see get involved or research. Yeah, the one there, research vault. Boom. There you go. So what I've done is, over the years, I have gathered everything, and I am a super nerd when it comes to keep things in order, because these cases are so chaotic. So it's only through extreme order that you can start understanding it. And so, I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of alleged assassinations, alleged terror attacks, alleged mass shootings, real things, all kinds of different areas I have categorized and done. This is also why, if somebody says, can I answer you about this? Yep. What do you want to know? And then if there's something I don't know, just give me like 2.5 minutes and prepare. Okay, fine, I'm on. And then very rarely have people said what you said was not true. As far as I know, what is on this database, it's an external hard drive or online version, and it is like perfectly categorized. And once again, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of videos. All of these things are being erased. If you haven't noticed, like, there's like an incredible war against information getting out there, real information. So what was history like just a year ago is now gone. If you go back and you start looking for critical information about many, many different, anything from Sandy Hook or 9/11 or whatever, or just go back a few weeks, something that you saw, I saw a video about somebody questioning this or questioning that. If you go back now, boom, it's gone. Oh, it must be just a coincidence. Or I would strongly say, no. There's absolute brutal censorship going on, also shutting people like myself down. So please, I'm so grateful for every single one that helps me guard this vital information for generations to come. If you buy one of these external hard drives, I mean, it takes me a lot of work just to copy it. There's so much on it. I tell you, it's unbelievable. And when you get it, please share it with people. Please hide it in your mattress or whatever. Copy it, whatever. Just get it out there and keep it safe. And also support me on the way. So very kind of you to share this. Maybe you want to play the video where I don't know if you can share the sound also.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I can do that. Absolutely.
There's no sound. Thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I'm really not trying to set anything on you. I'm asking for your assistance to help me keep this, because if the people that teenagers growing up now and so on, who doesn't know anything at all and are looking for the internet or AI for all questions, it's like, hello, it's not there. This is why they want it digital, because that's where they can control it. So and this is also why libraries has been such an important part of burning down when new emperors have come and stuff like that. This is also why people like myself are being I don't know what to call it, but put in an uneasy situation. So anyway, one of the things also I would very much like to do is here the Freedom Retreats here in April, because the thing is, unfortunately, I am been informed that I cannot go back to Sweden. I've used to go on tour on my own. I've been to 16 different countries. I've done more than 1,400 interviews. I tell you, Jordan, I have really done my utmost to, as a one-man band, to get out there. I don't know what else I could do. But anyway, so since I'm not really up for 18 years in prison, even if they say that lunch is free, it's not my, I don't see it. So I stay away from NATO countries at the moment. And instead I thought, if I can't come to you, why don't come to me? So in April, I'm organizing 2 retreats, one in Swedish from April the 1st to April the 8th, and one in English for the English-speaking community around the world from the 18th to the 25th. And it's going to be 7 days in the most spectacular, most beautiful place that I know on. It's called Cinnamon. Bali is the island of the gods. I kid you not. It is an incredible place to be. I'm so grateful on a daily basis to be here. Don't worry about the traffic. Don't worry about that. It looks horrendous, but once you get off track and into the areas that really truly are Bali, it is unbelievably beautiful. And the most beautiful place that we know of is called Cinnamon. And so that's where we put this retreat, in the most spectacular place that we know of, who's run by the most spectacular Balinese that we know of, that makes the best Balinese, or not Balinese, but the best Indian buffet, all type of the food that you want. We try to do the best of the best of the best of the best. This is not like a 5-star hotel. It's the most authentic, near heart experience that we've been able to make. And so it's going to be for 7 days, where you get your butt over here by yourself, flights and these things on you. But then once you get to the retreat itself, from there on, you are in my warm hug for about 7 days. And I'm going to give my absolute utmost to make this a life-changing experience. As far as I know, this is completely unique in the world, because it's going to be based on what has been named conspirituality. It's going to be, yes, about conspiracies and how to see through the veil of illusion, of propaganda, of lies, and so where I'm going to share what is it that makes me different, what is it that makes me able to, I'm now on international radio, I predicted or connected 77 of these alleged attacks, some of them up to 2-3 months before they actually occurred. How is that possible if I'm not involved? How is it possible? And this is what what has been called Dammegarding, #Dammegard or #Dammegarding, is to find the hidden clues in the forensic evidence that they actually hide there for their selfish purpose, because they're so terrified of the law of karma that they need to show us in subtle ways what they're up to, with the hope that if we don't do anything, the bad karma's on our shoulders, not theirs. So I really want to share that. So it's going to be like a true crime detective deciphering thing. Yeah. It's also on a spiritual level. because so much is based on fear. And I'm going to really, many people have said, how come you're so peaceful, even though you are in the belly of the beast? How come you don't believe in violence? How come you don't believe in revenge? What is that? I mean, and some people get a bit envious of a peaceful mind. So what I'm saying is I would be most happy to share the things that I've learned over these 45 years surfing these waters. Just like a surfer, if you go anywhere with big surf waves, you know, who would you speak to? The beginner or the dude that's been around for a while? I would suggest maybe the guy that's been around for a while, because he's, 45 years of surfing dark waters could have some benefit. So also, there's going to be incredible food. The places, there's this volcano right behind it, a valley, rice fields. It's just stunning. And to be surrounded by light-minded people from around the world, light-minded people. There's so much loneliness out there. So many people feel alone and desperate, not heard and isolated. And I'm inviting you, come here and meet your new family, your new tribe of incredible people. Most people come alone, I tell you that, so don't see that as a problem. Or also, there's no need to know anything before, and you don't need to be an expert on anything. The only thing I'm asking for you is to come with an open mind and a heart that cares. Because I am really focusing on making this something that will have ripple effect in the world, that this whole thing, my hope and intention is that this will spread. We call it the Dammegardian experience because many people have made jokes about my name as Dammegard, but I take that as if you see that as a guardian of truth and transparency, I take that as a compliment. So this will be an education. You will be a certified Dammegardian when you leave. And there will also be, we will have like Indonesian or Balinese dance there's a children's orchestra, like an 18 kids piece band with all the and fire circles and song and joy. And there's going to be time also to relax, and there's spa possibilities, massage, but that's on everyone else on their own if they want to. But plenty of time to just mingle, because one of the things that are most important is for people to meet new friends and shape new networks that will last hopefully for life. And I tell you, the people that has this place, the owner, her name is Mama Ati. She's like a Balinese priest, and one of the things that she wants to share with us, anyone who's interested, I do it every time we're there, is a morning ceremony. It's not religious as such, but it's a ceremony with fire, flowers, incense. It's an incredibly beautiful way of beginning the morning, and it's all based on gratitude. So it's with these flowers and these different prayers, it's to thank your ancestors, thank nature, thank water, thank iron, thank your friends, thank the food, it's just, so when you start your day after that, you just feel so blessed and empowered. And so I suspect people will come burdened by a lot of problems and worries, and that if I have not succeeded in transforming you so that you leave full of hope, surrounded by new friends, on a gratitude level that is here, I would have completely failed. So I'm not one of these people that I've heard, people come to some celebrity has arranged for some retreat, whatever, and they're there like 2 hours the first day and then you don't see them. I would be there from early morning, late night. I would be the first one up. I would be the last one to go to bed. And then after that week, I'm going to completely crash. But that is with a very happy, satisfied smile. But until then, I would be there at your service, full on.
Right on, Ollie. That sounds amazing. I'll have to look into that one day, because that sounds wild and that sounds amazing. You're definitely combining a lot of great things into what sounds like a wonderful, wonderful experience.
It's on another level, Jordan. I tell you, it's on another level also because just being in the nature here, being among the locals, being among like-minded friends, that on its own for a time span of 7 days is really powerful. Then add the other stuff on top, and yeah, it is. This is why I get a little teary-eyed just talking about it, because I just know I've done it before. It's I mean, I can't wait. I just want to do it all the time, because it's also because it's very intimate. We're only 25 places, so please, if you're interested, book now. I ask for you. Also because we have booked the whole place, so I need to pay for the whole place also. So the sooner you book, because that would make my life a lot easier, because there's still some places left. So yeah, please come and join me. I don't know if you know Michael Jaco. He's talking about coming here as well. And also the healer Mark Bajewski is also talking about dropping by, and just there's a lot of people who would love to meet him. So yeah, what can I say?
Amazing. Well, you've said quite a bit, and this has been a great experience for me. It's been a pleasure meeting you. A wonderful discussion. Again, I greatly respect you. I greatly respect all your work, whether it's your books, your interviews and podcasts. I respect that you're a man of many trades, and so I've had a great time, and I hope that we can stay in touch, and that maybe you'll come back sometime. But yeah, I wish you the best with your retreat, and I wish you the best every day, my friend. It was great meeting you. So thanks for coming by.
Thank you so much, Jordan. And I will supply you with an affiliate link here that you can share, so it would be a win-win.
That'd be great, Ollie.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
And I would love to see you and your hat here. And please don't worry. That many people are asking about the PCR test and stuff like that. At the moment, absolutely nothing. It's very relaxed here. Yeah, they try to do different scare things, but sorry about that. It's like I have seen nothing of it here. So it's an island of peace. It's the most peaceful, calm, gentle people that I have ever met in my entire life. I tell you, I am so grateful to. So this is also one thing that you will feel when you're here. The detail they put into how they serve the food or decoration, flower decoration, that on its own is like, I'm just sitting like, holy, look at that. And then we look at the Western way, just everything plastic. And then you look at that and like, oh my God, look at it. Like here, sorry, I ramble on, but like,
no, please.
Sometimes I go down to the sea very early, when it's still dark. And before I even arrive there, I mean like 5 a.m. or something, it's pitch black. And I'm like, smells like incense. Yeah. I come down on the beach. Somebody has already been there and doing like flower offerings and stuff like that. And there's flower offerings every day, every single day, and ceremonies. And they don't have a religion as such. It's not that there's no book. There's no you should, nothing like that at all. It's based on gratitude, and also the understanding of the powers, the light and the darkness, the duality. So they take care of both, So, which is really interesting, I think, because they also feed the dark powers and say thank you for duality, because it's only in the interaction of the two forces that this creation can happen. So, yeah, it's what can I say? Do you know what they did? I can't stop talking here. Do you know what they did when in 2002 there was the so-called Bali bombing? Yeah, okay, it was blamed on some Muslim terrorist, and it looked really awful. Hundreds of people were blown to smithereens. A lot of Balinese people were completely slaughtered and stuff like that, even though you only hear about the foreigners, but many locals were blown to pieces here. Okay, so this one has looked into it a lot. And what did he found? Yes, he found patsies called Muslim terrorists that were completely brainwashed, not the ones that actually carried it out. Very advanced operation with an Israeli operative here. They came in different planes. There were some private jets, including a big Hercules plane also, where all of it was set up. Very advanced technology. The bomb that went off here, I don't know what kind of thing it was, but it was massive. I mean, and the injuries had nothing to do with normal explosives. It was the same type of injuries that we see in Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Oh, wow.
So, but not just like Hiroshima and Nagasaki was firebombed. The atom bomb, absolutely not. Sorry that, but there's a whole different story there. But here, there was some beta test of some weaponry was tried here with an orange plume thing. Awful. And anyway, so this horrendous thing happened. It was part of the war of terror where like after 9/11 happened, which was a complete inside job with Israel and Saudi in the background and the Bushes in the center and the whole shebang, the neo-Zionists, the whole shebang, that. But anyway, one of the reasons for 9/11, there were so many different reasons in this super heist, but was to start the war of terror, to just fight in innocent countries for no reason whatsoever. Afghanistan, Iraq 1, 2, and so on. Countries that have done absolute nothing except they have oil and minerals and these type of things and gas, and that's the whole point of it. So, but anyway, so the people that carried out 9/11 needed the world to say yes sir, no sir, and stand in line and applaud while this war of absolute massacre and rape and violence took place. So any country, especially NATO countries, that did not do yes sir, no sir right away, it's like Obama said, sometimes we just have to twist the arms of nations. Listen to that one for a while. Yeah. So you will see there's a whole series of countries that have had so-called terror attacks right in the aftermath of 9/11. We had Finland just a few weeks, boom, and then here in Bali. So that was the whole agenda. It was to involve emotionally New Zealand and Australia to back the war on terror. And then they'd hit them here in a special nightclub, 2 clubs here in Bali that was especially popular among Aussies and Kiwis. That was the thing. And then they hit this light place in the world. This is like a light. Like it's darkness, hates light. And I think that's why they did it. Do you know what the Balinese did? Like if you had been in the US, if somebody had done something like that to you, I have a strong, like it's just a wild guess that what would it be? What would the solution be? Bomb the living shit out of them. And while we're at it, bomb everything else as well, because we don't know what name of the country or wherever they are. So just bomb all of them while we're at it. That would be the American way of solving things. The Balinese gathered in the thousands in the street of Kuta, where this whole thing happened, all dressed in ceremonial clothes, white clothes and flowers, and was sitting for hours meditating, asking for forgiveness for having attracted this to the island.
Wow.
I mean,
wow.
For me, that is like, what? Do you see what I'm saying? They're on a different level.
Different level, yeah.
That's
like, what I was thinking. Completely different mindset.
Wow. To take full responsibility and ask for forgiveness for having attracted it into their reality.
Yeah.
Like,
that's deep. That's deep.
Yeah. Instead of seeing all the people massacred, burnt bodies, and go into revenge mode, that, I mean, I get spirit chills when I talk about it. It's just on a whole, on a level that if I ever get to that level, I'm like, yeah, it's mind-blowing. I don't know if this is true, but it said when the Dutch was occupying the island of Bali many years ago, it was just military, and the Balinese, in the end, they just had it. You know, it was just too much for them to handle. So do you know how they got rid of the Dutch? I mean, it's Gandhi is not so far from here. If you know, we have west to India, go west to India. It sounds really weird. But so what they did, if this is true, I don't know, but this is what I've been told by multiple different sources, was that they approached one of these military installations. There were thousands of people, Balinese, dressed in white ceremonial clothes, whole families, children, women, older, elder, whatever. And they walked up to the soldiers, and then they pulled out ceremonial knives and committed suicide in front of the soldiers. Then the next family came, committed suicide in front of the soldiers. Then the next family came, committed suicide in front of the soldiers. Then the next family came, committed suicide. The soldiers was like, in the end, they just freaked out. They couldn't handle it. And so it came to that the soldiers backed off and said, no. Fights they can deal with, this they could not.
Yeah.
And so it, in the long run, that was the thing that broke this control from a massive empire like Netherlands, who used to be so powerful. I mean, really, here we are again. I'm like, wow. Look at Gandhi.
That's
like this dude without teeth, he could hardly see anything. He was like 5'2", no army, no title, no money, no nothing like that, and managed to take the British Empire. He didn't even say fuck off. He said, let's split as friends. Thank you for this experience. Now please leave. And then, of course, they shot him, as they do. Anyway, Jordan, I'm off, and thank you so much.
All right, Ollie.
I really, really hope it would be an amazing pleasure to see you here. And please bring your friends and family.
Sounds good, Ollie. We'll stay in touch. All the best to you, okay?
All the best to you. Stay in peace. Bye-bye.
Peace to you, my friend. Bye-bye. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was Ole Dammegard. That was a great show. Thank you to everyone in the audience, all the listeners, followers, supporters, viewers. Much appreciated. Ole is a legend. That was a great show. It was a pleasure to meet him. Yeah, we'll definitely have to have him back and start digging into some more stuff. He went into that story, and it was great, and I just could not stop him, and it was wonderful. So I didn't get into any of the stuff I had planned, but he seems like a really great guy, and I think he'll come back. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to please subscribe to the Divulgence podcast. I think we broke through that little shadow ban, so we're starting to get some more subscribers. So shout out to all the new subscribers and all the old subscribers, but please subscribe on YouTube, Rumble, audio podcasts. You can get us on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. As for Rumble, we actually have our Rumble wallet set up. By no means do I expect you guys to be dumping money on me or anything like that, but I just thought I'd let you know, if you do want to support me and the show, there is an actual way to do it now, until I can start monetizing on YouTube. But again, that really is not the concern right now. I'm just here for you guys and to learn and enjoy myself. So yeah, I guess the final thing I'll just shout out is the Scott Horton Academy, which is now available. Please go check that out. Scott Horton is a motherfucking G. And he's started something that I think is going to be really great, kind of like Ollie's Vault that he mentioned. So definitely check this out. It's not as expensive. You can also get a discount for being a listener of Divulgence, which is great. Again, Scott's a motherfucking G. So please go to the Scott Horton Academy. Sorry, I always say that. Go to scotthortonacademy.com/divulgence, and you will get a nice discount. You'll get 10% off the 1-year membership, or you'll get 20% off the lifetime membership, which, in all honesty, is makes the most sense and is way better of a deal, because he's going to be releasing more and more classes, more and more content, and that's what it's all about, right? The receipts, the content, the entertainment. So yeah, enjoy that stuff, guys. I gotta go. It's getting late. I'm getting tired. We got some more great shows planned in the next couple days. It looks like I'll probably be off tomorrow. We were trying to book something, but it didn't happen. But we got some great shows coming up, so please stay tuned. Check the you can check our X account for any updates at Divulgence Pod, and if you want to reach out to me, feel free with any suggestions, guest recommendations, anything like that. But peace and love, everyone. Take care, be safe, and I hope everyone in the States is doing okay. Things are pretty wild there right now. I just wish the best for everyone, because I guess the whole world's a little wild right now, as always. So peace and love to everyone. Take care and be safe. All the best, and thanks for watching, guys.